On November 30th, 2024, Donald Trump issued a threat that may have accidentally confirmed the world's biggest financial shift. He warned that any country attempting to move global trade away from the US dollars would face 100% tariffs from America. And here's what makes that threat so revealing. Zambia is already accepting Chinese yuan for mining taxes and royalties. Russia and Africa are settling a growing chunk of their trade in rubles. China is expanding yuan trade corridors deeper into Africa. And behind all of this is a financial system most people have never even heard of, called the Mbridge, a cross-border settlement platform that has already processed billions of dollars in transactions without touching the US dollars. That is the real Brics currency story. Not one magical coin suddenly replacing the dollars overnight, but an entirely new financial architecture slowly being built around the dollar system itself. One trade corridor at a time, one payment rail at a time, one bilateral deal at a time. And now in 2026, Trump is sitting in Beijing negotiating directly with Xi Jinping while this shift accelerates in real time. Something changed. The question is no longer whether the world wants alternatives to the dollar. That is already happening. And I want to be honest with you about both sides of this argument, because one side of this story is genuinely exciting for Africans, and the other side is something most Brics videos are too afraid to say. So whether you are an investor in Africa looking for a hedge or a business owner not just trying to survive the next currency crash, this shift will dictate your reality over the next decade. The real question is what it means for Africa and whether we benefit from it or simply enter a new form of dependency. Well, this video is an answer to that question. Do well to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel, especially if you're someone interested in investing across the continent of Africa. And without much talk, let's jump right into today's video. Let's go. So let's zoom out for a second and understand what Brics actually is in 2026. Most people still think this is just some random alliance that meets once a year to take photographs. My guys, it's not. Not anymore. Brics originally started with 5 countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. But in 2024, everything changed. Egypt joined, Ethiopia joined, Iran joined, Saudi Arabia joined, the UAE joined. Now Nigeria, Turkey, Indonesia, Algeria, and several others are all circling the system as partner countries or formal applicants. So what does that actually mean in real terms? Well, the G7, which includes America, Germany, France, Japan, the UK, Canada, and Italy, has dominated the global economy for decades, set the rules, controlled the institutions, decided what the financial system looked like. Brics surpassed the G7 in total economic output in 2024. Let us stay with you for a moment and now look at the resources this bloc controls. China dominates manufacturing, India dominates the service sector, Brazil dominates food, Russia dominates energy, the Middle East brings in the oil, Africa brings in the critical minerals. The acronym became architecture, and Africa is already deeply inside the system. China alone did roughly $348 billion in trade with Africa in 2025 alone. Africa already has 3 full Brics members: South Africa, Egypt, and Ethiopia. And Nigeria is considered one of the strongest candidates for future full membership. So here's what I need every African watching this video to carry into the rest of the video. This is not a distant story happening somewhere else. Africa is already inside the system being built. The real question is whether we are entering it from a position of strength or trading one dependency for another with a different flag attached to it. And the infrastructure being built inside this system is already processing billions of dollars in transactions without touching the dollars at all. I mentioned it earlier, the Mbridge. Now, this is where the story becomes real, because most people still think the Brics currency conversation is just a speculation, a theory, something that might happen one day. But the infrastructure is already operational as I'm speaking to you right now. And the best way to understand this is to stop thinking about currencies or coins first and start thinking about roads. For decades, almost every major international transaction had to pass through the US dollar system. The dollar was basically the giant toll gate sitting in the middle of global trade. Every transaction paid a fee to pass through. But Brics countries are now building alternative routes around that gate. The biggest example, the Mbridge. I keep mentioning it. Imagine a Nigerian company wants to buy equipment from China. Traditionally, Naira converts to US dollars, then converts to yuan. Multiple banks sit in the middle collecting fees before anything clears. The dollar is the middleman every single time. Mbridge removes that middleman. Instead of naira to dollar to yuan, it goes naira to yuan directly. That sounds small, guys, until you realize what it actually means. Countries can now settle trade without asking permission from the dollar system. And this is not theory. By late 2025, Mbridge had already processed over 55 billion USD in real transactions. Not simulation, not theory. Real money crossing borders without touching the dollar. Roughly 95% of those transactions settled in digital yuan, which tells you immediately who is leading this infrastructure race. And Africa is already quietly entering this system. Egypt and Namibia are in observer discussions around the Mbridge. Nigeria renewed a 15 billion yuan currency swap agreement with China, and Zambia has officially started accepting yuan for mining taxes and royalties. That last point matters, guys, because once a country accepts another currency for taxes and exports, you are no longer talking about diplomacy, you are talking about structural financial change. And this is why the world is asking the wrong questions when it asks whether there will be one giant Brics currency or coin. Brics may not even need one. If countries can already trade directly in their own currencies, if payment systems already exist outside the SWIFT, if commodity deals are already bypassing the dollar, the shift has already started, but most of you guys are not seeing it. The architecture is already live. But now, here's what nobody predicted about Trump's warning about the Brics currency. It did not slow things down. It made them move even faster. Because here's the thing about threatening the entire world to protect your currency. It tells everyone exactly how much you need it. The dollar being the world's reserve currency is basically America's biggest financial superpower. It means the US can borrow cheaper than any other country on earth. It means America can spend way more than it earns without going broke, because other countries keep recycling dollars back into American debt. And most importantly, it gives America the ability to cut any country out of the global economy simply by blocking their access to the dollar system that is worth trillions of dollars every year. And when Trump threatened countries just for trying to trade without it, he accidentally made everyone realize how dangerous it is to depend on something one government can switch off at any moment in time. Indian officials privately called that threat a political gift, because suddenly businesses that were hesitant about moving away from the dollar had a very good reason to reconsider. Saudi Arabia moved even more dramatically. In June 2024, the kingdom quietly let its 50-year petrodollar agreement with America to expire, an agreement that had kept global oil tied to the dollar since 1974. Gone. The countries Trump was trying to discipline moved faster, not slower. And the numbers confirm it. In 2001, the dollar made up roughly 72% of global reserves. By 2014, that's dropped to 62%. By mid-2025, it hit a 25-year low of 56%. It's not a collapse, guys, but a steady erosion that accelerated exactly when America started using the dollar as a weapon against other countries. Because that is the irony sitting underneath this whole story. The moment you threaten people for not using your currency, you prove their point that it is a weapon and not a tool. And when something becomes a weapon, people start building alternatives to bypass that weapon that you have. And now, as we speak, Trump is in Beijing, sitting across from Xi Jinping. The cameras are flashing, but the real conversations are happening behind closed doors in central banks and finance ministries. A US president flying to China to negotiate is not a show of strength. It's a signal that something has already shifted, whether it is an attempt to slow what is moving or proof that it has moved too far to reverse. The message is the same. The world has changed, and Africa is sitting right in the middle of what comes next. So what does all of this actually mean for Africa if we bring it together? Because this is where the real conversation actually does start. You see, for decades, African governments have had a problem most people never think about. When Nigeria or Kenya needs to borrow money internationally, they cannot borrow in their own currency. They have to borrow in dollars. So if the Naira weakens, if the Kenyan shillings weakens, the debt automatically becomes more expensive to repay without borrowing a single extra cent. And it gets worse. Analysts estimate Africa pays roughly $5 billion every year in unnecessary fees just because trade between two African countries still has to pass through the dollar system before it clears. $5 billion, guys, every year as a tax on using someone else's currency. This is exactly why the Brics infrastructure conversation matters for Africa, because platforms like PALS, which is actually built by we Africans, is called the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, are already changing this. You see why dollar-mediated payments between African neighbors can lose 10 to 30% of their value in fees. PALS cuts that cost to around 1%. It's already live. 20 African countries, 160 banks are operating with it right now. And specific countries are already moving. Egypt and Ethiopia are piloting local currency settlement hubs. Kenya restructured its railway debt from dollars into yuan. Zambia is officially collecting mining royalties in yuan. These are not theories, these are done deals. But here's where I need to be completely honest with you, because this is the part most big videos are too excited to see. Africa currently owes China somewhere between 150 to 200 billion US dollars. And the concern is not just the debt, it is what happens when a country cannot pay it back. China has not technically seized any African asset currently, but think about it this way. Imagine you borrow money from a landlord to renovate your shop. Business is slow, you cannot repay on time. So instead of taking the keys of your shop from you, the landlord says, just give me 30% of everything your shop earns for the next 20 years. You still own the shop, but a big slice of everything it produces is no longer yours. That is what has been happening in some African debt restructuring. Not seizing of the assets, I mean taking a share of the revenue from those assets for decades. So the honest question is this: if Africa moves from the dollar dependency into yuan dependency, is that freedom or is it just a different landlord? Brics has given Africa the tool to break away from the dollar's grip, but if Africa does not build its own independent infrastructure like the PAPs, we are still following someone else's map, just a different one this time. The divide in Africa in 2026 is becoming very clear. Countries like South Africa, Nigeria, and Egypt, large enough, diversified enough, are using BRICS as a bargaining tool, playing both sides to get better terms for everyone. But smaller, more debt-heavy nations risk walking straight from one dependency into another in Africa. BRICS have given Africa the both quarters to snap the dollar chain. But really, we need to look closely at the next new bridge being built in Africa. It is paved in yuan, designed in Beijing, and the toll booth is still not in an African capital. Breaking one monopoly does not make you free if you do not own the alternative. And this is where we as African countries and leaders and even citizens need to start thinking around. The dollar is not dead, but it's no longer the only option. And for a continent that spends decades with no choice, that matters more than most people actually do realize. The exit door from dollar dominance is wide open. The only question is whether Africa walks through it as a partner or gets absorbed as a dependent. Let me know where you're watching from in the comment section, and do you think BRICS is a genuine opportunity for we as Africans, or you're just basically changing landlord? Let me know in the comment section, guys. Like the video as well. I mean, smash the like button if this video gave you some clarity or insight. Subscribe to the channel if you're yet to, if you're anyone interested in the African capital market especially. And there's also a link to join my WhatsApp channel. That's where I share real-time market updates about the stock market in Nigeria, which is in Africa, and investing as a whole. As usual, don't forget to stay sharp, stay safe, and invest wisely. Deal.